Hey, welcome to Billy's Books. Today we're going to do The Big Sleep by Raymond Chandler, detective novel from the 30s. Welcome to Billy's Books. Today we're going to do The Big Sleep by Raymond Chandler, a detective novel from the 30s, made later on into a movie starring Bogey-Bacall. I can't wait to watch that soon after this. But in the meanwhile, I'm talking about the book, and the book is fun. It is a detective novel, very much a page-turner. The chapter always ends leading you on to the next one. By page 12, I was already laughing out loud because the book has a sense of humor, which is probably why it's a classic and still around today. I'm going to read you an interaction with from page 16, when right after the detective, the star, the protagonist, just after he talks with his client, he then talks to the butler. He stopped about 2 feet from me and said gravely, "Mrs. Reagan would like to see you before you leave, sir. And in the matter of money, the general has instructed me to give you a check for whatever seems desirable." "Instructed you how?" He looked puzzled, then he smiled. "Ah, I see, sir. You are, of course, a detective." By the way, he rang his bell. "You write his checks?" "I have that privilege." "That ought to save you from a pauper's grave. No money now, thanks. What does Mrs. Reagan want to see me about?" His blue eyes gave me a smooth, level look. "She has a misconception of the purpose of your visit, sir." "Who told her anything about my visit?" "Her windows command the greenhouse. She saw us go in. I was obliged to tell her who you were." "I don't like that," I said. His blue eyes frosted. "Are you attempting to tell me my duties, sir?" "No, but I'm having a lot of fun trying to guess what they are." We stared at each other for a moment. He gave me a blue glare and turned away. So this guy's a tough guy. The detective's a tough guy. A lot of the characters are tough guys. And it turns out the author actually mentions, or the narrator, your choice, mentions that all these tough guys act like tough guys in the movies, not because the movies are accurate, but because after watching the movies, the real tough guys imitated the tough guys in the movies, who of course were meant to portray them. So it's a full circle of self-referential tough guyness. Since they're tough guys, they are kind of not nice people. So they have all sorts of language that of course would be fine in a G-rated movie, because violence is fine, but sex isn't. So there's plenty of that. But they don't portray other people well besides tough guys. So there's one particular character who is implied is homosexual, and they call him a fag, and his boy a pansy. The pansy actually only has one line that he repeats over and over again, and that's "Go F yourself," which he says to the detective and every character who he comes across. He gets taken into a cop car and says it to the cops sitting in the back seat while in handcuffs. I really enjoy that. Some of the other terminology I learned from these tough guys is Seamus, which I guess everyone knew but me, is a kind of an old term for detective, which I assume it's spelled Shamus, but it's pronounced like Seamus, the Irish name, and I'm assuming it's actually got the same derivation. Cops being always Irish is the stereotype in the early 20th century. Speaking of the early 20th century, since this is a 30s novel, all the tip guys have a history, and their history is from the 20s, where they were all bootleggers. The good guys and the bad guys all have bootlegger stories to tell, good and bad, who died, who didn't. There's a bug flying around my head, thank you. So, by the way, not only do they, have bad names for fags and pansies, but they also, these tough guys don't really have a lot of respect for women either. They call them frails, and women are considered to either be stupid or weak, or, worse yet at all, devil women out to get them, or all three. The Mrs. Reagan is one of those women that is not portrayed kindly. She is the daughter, one of the daughters of the general who is his client. You've got to go stop flying around my head while I'm doing video, okay? You can stop that now. Huh. A fly flew in my mouth. Even better. Anyway, so I'm actually enjoying this book despite the fly flying around my head. And I think you should read it too if you like detective novels. It really does have the film noir vibe. I can just imagine a voiceover from a lot of these scenes. You know, oh, it was a tough rainy night and I hadn't had sleep and I hadn't had a drink and I need a drink and oh my goodness, but when I came home I had a surprise and all this kind of stuff. So it's fun. It's a fun book. It's a detective novel. I'm looking forward to watching the movie after this. So yeah, check it out if you like, and don't if you don't. If you can't do, review. A little life, a little darkness, something light, just shape on a bus. Can I please go further? Don't shake.